The Bible is a sacred text that has been a cornerstone of faith for millions of people around the world. Its teachings and lessons have been a guiding light for countless individuals, providing comfort, wisdom, and spiritual guidance. However, in today's world, where mainstream media dominates the airwaves and online platforms, it has become increasingly difficult to learn the true lessons of the Bible from these sources. Mainstream media often presents a distorted or superficial view of biblical teachings, failing to provide the depth and context necessary for genuine understanding. One reason for this is that mainstream media is primarily driven by ratings and advertising revenue. As such, they tend to focus on sensational stories and soundbites that grab attention, rather than providing in-depth analysis or thoughtful commentary. This approach can lead to a shallower understanding of biblical teachings, as complex and nuanced ideas are reduced to simplistic or misleading soundbites. For example, a news headline might proclaim "Bible says this about abortion" or "Jesus said that about homosexuality," without providing any context or explanation of the biblical passage being referenced. This kind of reporting can be misleading and even deceptive, as it fails to account for the historical, cultural, and literary context in which the biblical text was written. Another issue with mainstream media is that it often relies on experts or commentators who may not have a deep understanding of biblical teachings. These individuals may have a limited or biased perspective, which can lead to inaccurate or misleading interpretations of the text. Additionally, mainstream media often prioritizes controversy and debate over thoughtful discussion and analysis. This can lead to a focus on divisive or provocative topics, rather than exploring the deeper themes and lessons of the Bible. For instance, the TV debate might feature a panel of pundits arguing about the Bible's stance on a particular issue without ever exploring the underlying theological or philosophical principles that inform the biblical text. Furthermore, mainstream media often approaches the Bible from a purely historical or literary perspective, without considering its spiritual or devotional significance. This can result in a reduction of the Bible to a mere historical artifact or cultural relic, rather than a living and breathing text that speaks to the human experience. The Bible is not just a collection of ancient stories and teachings, but is also spiritual guidance and wisdom that can transform lives and communities. By neglecting this dimension of the Bible, mainstream media fails to convey the full richness and depth of its teachings. In addition, the 24-hour news cycle and the instant gratification of social media can make it difficult to engage with the Bible in a meaningful way. The Bible is a complex and multifaceted text that requires patience, reflection, and contemplation to understand. However, in a culture that values quick fixes and instant answers, it can be challenging to slow down and delve deeply into the biblical text. Mainstream media often reinforces this culture of instant gratification, providing bite-sized summaries or simplistic explanations that fail to do justice to the complexity and nuance of the Bible. Ultimately, to learn the true lessons of the Bible, one must engage with the text in a more intentional and thoughtful way. This requires setting aside time for reflection, study, and prayer, as well as seeking out wise and knowledgeable guides who can provide context and insight. It also involves being willing to grapple with the complexities and challenges of the biblical text, rather than seeking simplistic or superficial answers. By doing so, individuals can cultivate a deeper understanding of the Bible and its teachings, and apply its wisdom to their lives in a meaningful and transformative way. Mainstream media may not be the best source for learning the true lessons of the Bible, but by seeking out alternative sources of wisdom and guidance, individuals can deepen their faith and cultivate a more authentic and meaningful relationship with the biblical text.